Great to have you with us at Global Citizen Week. We want to get your insights into the US election, which is one of the biggest in recent history. What do you think is going to happen if Trump or Biden wins in terms of investment migration? What type of people may activate their plan B?
Well, with the US election, this is a very uncertain year. So anybody who thinks they actually know what's going to happen, I think is fooling themselves. So clients are preparing for any eventuality. So you have different motivations for clients. Some are worried about Biden's taxation of the unrealized capital gain, or Warren's ultra-millionaire taxing unrealized capital gains. Others are worried about the political polarization, increase in racism, anti-Semitism, anti-Islamic, mass shootings, etc. So there's a variety of reasons why high net worth and ultra high net worth Americans are anxious. Actually, a lot of Americans are anxious. It's just that high net worth and ultra high net worth can avail themselves of options.
In terms of possible jurisdictions, we saw that the UK ended its non-dom program after 225 years, and now Portugal has changed its NHR. Where do you think high net worth individuals may go to as favorable tax destinations? What are the alternatives?
Well, it really depends on what their situation is. For Americans, because of citizenship-based taxation, they want to, if they're just going to be moving abroad, they'll still be U.S. taxpayers. They just want to make sure they don't jump out of the U.S. tax fire and into somebody else's tax pot. So as a tax lawyer, we have kind of our own, do no further harm for doctors. It's pay no further tax for tax lawyers. And likewise, so we try to do that. For those who are expatriating, again, we want to match lifestyle with controlled tax. Most of the clients end up moving to what are thought of as high tax countries, such as the UK or Ireland or Portugal, but on a lower controlled tax basis. Portugal has been very popular. With the non-habitual tax resident regime being phased out, we do have a new regime coming in, so it is still amongst the options. So the clients really are looking, whether they're non-DOMs looking to leave the UK, whether they are Americans looking to move abroad. The European options are the remittance basis places like Ireland, Cyprus, and Malta. The lump sum basis like Italy, Greece, and the forfait fiscal in Switzerland. And then the special programs such as Portugal's replacement for the NHR.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the UK's closure of the non-dom is going to be infectious? Do you think other European countries may change, alter, or just remove their favorable taxation frameworks?
My feeling is exactly the opposite. They're going to be welcoming all of those wealthy taxpayers and wealthy individuals into their jurisdiction. Even if they're not paying as a lot of tax in income or capital gain, a lot of these countries have very high VAT rates. And of course, they're buying a latte or espresso, they are employing people. Ultra high net worth individuals tend not to just be consumer spenders. They tend to also invest and create jobs. If you think of Warren Buffett, he doesn't get up in the morning to cover the mortgage. It's just part of his human nature. And that's really what you find amongst the ultra high net worths. Even if you look at the non-DOMs, who are only going to pay on UK source income, the average non-DOM pays 5 times the amount that the top 1% of UK taxpayers do. If they were just sitting at home not paying any tax, they wouldn't be doing that. So a lot of countries recognize that these golden geese are very attractive and they want them to land on their shores. So I do see countries such as Italy and Greece have taken positive steps to attract high net worth, ultra high net worth clients to their countries.
Okay, and finally, I want to go back to the US election now that we've talked about tax. You said a lot of people may leave the US or activate their plan B depending on which side they're on. Do you think the political framework is more important than the taxation framework for the average American?
Well, I've been doing this for 3+ decades, and up to the last few years, it was almost exclusively tax driven. In the last few years, other factors that I was mentioning, such as political polarization or increasing of racism or anti-Islamic or anti-Semitism, have increasingly been factors. But it's really going to be, I think, a mix of things. There's also a big Supreme Court of the United States case called Moore, which is going to be decided. They've already heard the oral arguments. They'll have the decision in June or July. And depending on what the outcome is of that, if they eliminate something called deemed dispositions, if the Supreme Court overturns the lower court, then the major barrier to Americans leaving is going to be gone. So you're going to see a lot of ultra high net worths leave. If they adopt it and say that taxing unrealized capital gains is actually constitutional, that opens the door for the Biden billionaire tax and Warren's ultra-millionaire tax. So either way, you're seeing a lot of Americans prepare, and it's often a combination of things. It'll be tax and other things. And depending on what the decision is in November, they'll decide to kind of pull the trigger. But it takes quite a while to prepare and get those plans ready. So just as you don't buy fire insurance when your house is on fire, you get your fire insurance long before, and you decide, depending on which way the political winds are blowing the wildfire, whether you're going to pull the trigger or not.